Imagine living in a quiet town where life is predictable, simple, and safe, until it isn't. That was Point Pleasant, West Virginia in the mid-1960s. A small, tight-knit community of fewer than 5,000 people. Most residents worked steady jobs, raised families, and spent their weekends on the shores of the Ohio River. But all of that changed in November 1966. What followed were 13 months of terror, strange occurrences, and warnings that no one could fully comprehend until it was too late. We will also reveal whether our previous story, the missing children found inside a wall, is true or not at the end of this video, so stay tuned. The first known encounter with the creature that would become known as the Mothman happened on November 12, 1966. It wasn't a headline-making story, just an odd incident reported by 5 men digging a grave in Clendenin, West Virginia, a town about 90 miles from Point Pleasant. They described seeing a large figure with wings glide silently over their heads before disappearing into the trees. At the time, they thought little of it, chalking it up to a strange bird or some other animal. But only 3 days later, the events took a far more terrifying turn. On November 15th, Roger and Linda Scarberry, along with their friends Steve and Mary Millette, were driving through the old West Virginia Ordnance Works, a remote area of overgrown concrete bunkers and abandoned buildings. It was the perfect setting for something out of a nightmare. As their car rounded a corner, they saw it. A towering figure standing in the shadows with massive wings and glowing red eyes. Frozen with fear, they watched as it suddenly spread its wings and took flight. The creature chased them, flying just above their car, even as Roger accelerated to nearly 100 miles per hour. They described its movements as smooth, effortless, and otherworldly. When they finally reached town, they were hysterical and immediately went to the police. Their story quickly spread, and more people began to come forward with similar sightings. In the weeks that followed, dozens of residents reported encounters with the Mothman. It seemed to be everywhere, lurking near the TNT area, hovering above the Silver Bridge, or even appearing in people's backyards. One woman, Marcella Bennett, claimed she saw the creature near her home while visiting family. She described its glowing red eyes and an overwhelming sense of fear that made her feel paralyzed. In her panic, she fell while holding her young child, but the creature didn't attack. Instead, it watched her for what felt like an eternity before flying away. These sightings weren't just limited to the Mothman. Strange lights were seen in the skies above Point Pleasant, and locals began reporting encounters with strange men in dark suits. These so-called men in black often appeared at the homes of witnesses, asking bizarre questions about their experiences, and in some cases, warning them not to speak about what they had seen. At the center of all this was journalist and investigator John Keel, who arrived in Point Pleasant to document the events. Keel, already a seasoned researcher of the paranormal, was overwhelmed by the sheer volume of reports. But what really disturbed him were the strange phone calls he began receiving. These calls came at odd hours and often featured distorted metallic voices delivering cryptic warnings. Some claimed the voices predicted natural disasters, while others seemed to be taunting him. Keel documented everything, piecing together a web of connections that suggested these events were part of something far larger than a simple cryptid sighting. One of the most chilling aspects of the Mothman saga was the sense of foreboding that seemed to hang over the town. Many locals described a feeling of dread, as though something terrible was about to happen. This culminated on December 15, 1967, when the Silver Bridge, one of the main thoroughfares connecting Point Pleasant to Ohio, collapsed during rush hour. The collapse was sudden and catastrophic. Cars plunged into the icy Ohio River, and 46 people lost their lives. Survivors described the chaos as horrifying, with people screaming and struggling in the freezing water. The disaster shocked the nation, and the town of Point Pleasant was forever changed. In the aftermath, many began to link the Mothman sightings to the bridge collapse. Some believed the creature had been trying to warn them, while others thought it might have caused the disaster. John Keel, in his book The Mothman Prophecies, suggested that the Mothman was just one part of a larger phenomenon involving UFOs, psychic messages, and otherworldly entities. But the story doesn't end there. Decades later, Point Pleasant remains a focal point for paranormal enthusiasts. The annual Mothman Festival draws thousands of visitors each year, and the town's Mothman Museum has become a popular tourist attraction. Eyewitness accounts continue to surface, even as skeptics dismiss the sightings as mass hysteria or misidentified animals. One of the most enduring theories is that the Mothman was a sandhill crane, a large bird with red markings around its eyes. But this explanation fails to account for the creature's humanoid shape, its intelligence, or its apparent ability to predict disasters. Another theory suggests that the Mothman might be an interdimensional being, slipping between worlds and appearing during times of crisis. Regardless of what it was, the Mothman left an indelible mark on Point Pleasant. For those who lived through the events, the fear was real. The memories of glowing red eyes, strange phone calls, and tragic loss still linger, a haunting reminder of a mystery that may never be fully solved. To this day, the Mothman remains an enigma. Was it a warning of things to come, a messenger from another world, or something even more incomprehensible? The truth, hidden in the shadows of Point Pleasant's history, continues to elude us. Perhaps the most chilling question isn't what the Mothman was, but whether it might one day return. So, what do you think? Is this story true or not? Let me know in the comments, and we will reveal the answer in our next video. And now, let's address our previous story, the missing children found inside a wall. This story is false. While it draws inspiration from real events surrounding childcare violations at Play Mountain Place in Colorado Springs, the actual details have been significantly exaggerated and sensationalized for dramatic effect. Here's the truth. In November 2019, law enforcement did uncover 26 children hidden in a basement at the in-home daycare run by Carla Faith. However, they were not found inside a wall. There was a false wall in the home, but it concealed a door leading to the basement, where the children were kept in overcrowded and unsafe conditions. The sensational claim of children being inside a wall is misleading and not factual. Carla Faith's actions were undoubtedly illegal and harmful, as she knowingly violated childcare licensing laws by accepting more children than permitted. The children were kept in a cramped basement, leading to unsafe and unhealthy conditions, but there was no evidence of physical abuse or any horrifying, life-threatening discoveries like the story suggests. Carla was motivated by greed, using the extra income from taking in too many children while attempting to evade authorities. This false story underscores the importance of being critical of sensationalized narratives. Exaggerations can overshadow the real and serious issues at play, such as gaps in childcare oversight and the safety of children. By staying true to the facts, we can focus on advocating for better systems of accountability and ensuring incidents like these don't happen again. So, while the story has a kernel of truth, its dramatized elements are fabricated and stray far from the actual events. It's a reminder to seek out verified facts, even in gripping narratives. If you enjoy our stories, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.